Hi, my name is Dharma Enriquez, and today I am going to talk about Robert Baden-Powell. Robert Stephenson Smith Baden-Powell was born in London, England in 1857. Since he was born more than a century ago, things have changed a lot. For instance, we can talk about technology, can we? Back in the day, technology was not what we think about today. In those days, the main technology was steam power. Steam engines provide a more reliable and effective source of power than wind or water. But when we talk now about technology, we must think about telephones or computers, that kind of stuff. We can also talk about how politics have changed. In that time, colored men, or better known as African Americans, weren't able to vote until 1868, where a civil war was unleashed. The 14th Amendment of the Constitution granted African Americans the rights of citizenship, even though that it did not always mean that they had the right to vote. Now, in our times, everyone has the same civil, political, and democratic rights. Must change a lot since then. I wonder how it would be like to live in those times. Another example of topic we can talk about is human rights. We got to recognize that things are not exactly as we would want them to be inside of our environment and their relationship within each other. But they have improved, haven't they? Back in those times, the inequality of the society was massive. The discrimination to women, colored people, children, elderly, literally everyone was mistreated in some way. I don't know who could do this to another human being. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, adopted in the 1789 by France's National Assembly, represents one of the basic charters of human liberties, containing the principles that inspired the French Revolution. Human rights have continued to evolve, and since its foundation, they wanted to know how to improve life of minorities. So the United Nations adopted more than 20 principal treaties, including conventions to prevent and prohibit specific abuses like torture and genocide, and to protect especially vulnerable populations, for instance, refugees. Physically, he was a white, skinny man, about 5'8", white hair, a nice mustache, and a particularly big nose. He was always a very nice man, kind, polite, agreeable, charming, considerate, courteous, diligent, generous. I asked myself how it would be like him. Well, long story short, an incredible human being, and must be always remembered. Important events. Lord Robert Baden-Powell, born in February 22, 1857, and died in January 8, 1941. He was a soldier, writer, and the founder of the World Scouting movement. His first introduction to the scouting skills studied and cooked animals and avoided teachers in nearby forests, which goes strictly for the school he visited. Baden-Powell served from 1876 to 1910 in the British Army in India and Africa. In 1899, during the second ever siege in South Africa, Baden-Powell successfully defended the city in the site of Mafeking. As a result, Baden-Powell became the national hero back home. In his return home, Baden-Powell found that his military training manual, AIDS for Scouting, had become a bestseller and was used by teachers and youth organizations. Baden Powell wondered how the military life could be applied in the youth. So, in this book, he had his scouts learn how to instruct themselves in a military life. After meeting with the founder of Boyang Brigade, Sir William Smith, Baden Powell told him to decide to write AIDS tools again to adopt a teenager, and in 1907 stopped the camp on Brownsea Island for 22 boys with a mixed social background. Check them some of his ideas that are now regarded as the beginning of the Scouting movement. This get the Scout to be known. Boys who spontaneously educated Scouting troops and the Scouting movement have understandable, first a national and soon an international obsession. Since this movement, Scout says, to create a better world. Although he could continue his military career, Baden Powell decided to remove from the army to the council of King Edward VII in 1910. In 1910, who indicated that he could serve his country better by promoting the Scouting. Under his leadership, Baden Powell brought the Scouting into the youth of the world, and the World Scouting movement grew. I chose him because of this ability to be a leader and create a legacy that managed to educate teenagers around the world in an inclusive way. One day, Baden Powell said, "Leave the world in better conditions than you found it." And he said, if you didn't live to serve, you didn't serve to live. So, in my years as a scout, phrases like this really has been an inspiration to me. His legacy and what he did truly has taught me great lessons on how to be a better person, a better human being. He must be one of the greatest inspirations in my life, and I always say that the Scouting is the best way to know persons' cultures and be an excellent person in the society. Well, in summary, he created the largest youth organization in the world together with books and with national, international, and world events that ensure the cultural exchange of those who make it up. Actually, in 2021, the movement was nominated to the Nobel Peace Prize.